What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. My name's Micah, and today I'm going to tell you about the only toolkit that we've used in the last 10 years. This thing has been great, and we've done so much with it. We have lifted trucks, rebuilt suspensions, torn apart front ends, done all of our own maintenance on every motorcycle that we've ever had, the dirt bikes, the dual sports, the sport bikes, the nakeds. We've built custom bobbers with this thing. And I've wrenched on the American, the Japanese, and the European stuff. This kit has just had every single thing that I have needed in it. So since this kit has been everything that I've needed to do so much, I figured I'd tell you guys all about it, save you some time, save you some money, so you don't get something that doesn't have the tools you need, and you don't spend thousands of dollars on some huge tool chest that you can't take anywhere. This thing is the size of a briefcase, and I can throw it under the seat of my car. I'll show up to people's house ready to do serious automotive work with just this, and they'll say, "Are you sure you got enough tools?" And yes is the answer. This thing has more than enough to do anything you could dream of. And take a look back through our channel. This is the only toolkit that you will see. This is just the best value, best bang for buck toolkit I think you could possibly get. So I'm going to show you everything that's in here, everything that it comes with. I'll show you how everything can be used. I'll go over what this costs. I'll put a link to it in the description. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So let's rewind 10 years ago. So I had a few vehicles, a few cars, a few motorcycles, and I did all the work on everything myself, but I was constantly borrowing tools from friends for different projects, things I needed, and then suddenly I was kind of on their watch. You know, I had to wait until they were free that I could go pick up whatever I needed. You know, I always felt bad using their tools. I'd always try and be very careful with everything, you know, bring it back on time. And I thought, this is so silly. I have no plan to quit doing this. You know, I just want to get more toys, keep wrenching on stuff, keep doing all of my own work. So I started looking for a toolkit, and I was looking online just so I could kind of see some other options. So I stumbled upon this, and I started looking through it here in the pictures just to see what it had. And as I was looking at it, I thought, okay, it's got all of my hex keys in there. It's got 3 different ratchet sizes, your 1/2 inch, your 3/8, your 1/4 inch. It's got different extensions for all of them. It's got an adapter. It's got pretty much every size of socket you could imagine. It has your channel locks. It has open-ended wrenches. Everything is metric and English. It came with multiple screwdrivers as well, the Phillips and straights. You know, it has a screwdriver that can go to all of these bits that it comes with. And don't even get me started about the bits. I mean, it has the Phillips ones. It has your 8-point Phillips. It has the square head bits, all your Torx bits, flat head bits of English and metric. It has hex head bits, English and metric, a needle nose, an adjustable wrench. It has some spark plug sockets as well that have the rubber boot already in them. Right when I saw this, I knew that I could do everything I needed to and wanted to on all of my vehicles. At the time when I got this, I had 3 cars, 1 ATV, and 4 motorcycles. And I knew that this is the one. So I had found it on Amazon, and it was $99. So I thought, you know what, that is the best $100 that I'm ever gonna spend. So I ordered it. The thing showed up 2 days later. So I religiously used this for the last 10 years, doing everything. All types of weather, all throughout the year. This thing has been through ice, snow, rain, been in the mud, been in the slush, and it has held up perfectly. I mean, sure, you can see that we've got some surface rust on some of our bits, you know, our channel lock, stuff like that, because I have tortured this thing. I have put it through the ringer. You know, there has been so many elements, so many chemicals and fluids just all over everything in this kit, and it all has worked perfectly, and it's been the only thing that I've ever had to use. Now, the only thing that I have ever needed to buy in 10 years of wrenching on stuff is about 6 different larger sockets, just stuff that I couldn't find really in any toolkit. I mean, here we have a size 36, a 27, 35, you know, just larger stuff, and that was primarily just for like axle nuts on motorcycles and cars. And then I've had this 3-foot breaker bar as well, since we like to wrench on older vehicles. Sometimes that's handy just to crack loose, you know, a frozen nut or a frozen bolt. And then I had to purchase these 2 wrenches for some task. I forget what it was. Well, the 22 millimeter here was for something on our pickup, and this 18 millimeter I think was for a tight spot on a bumper. But in 10 years of wrenching on everything, that's the only thing I've had to buy outside of this kit. And really no kit would kind of come with those. Now this has been my only toolkit, so for whatever we were doing, I would transport this one from the truck to the SUV, to the garage, to the house, out to the farm. You know, I always had to just bring this everywhere with me, or remember what vehicle or what place I had put it in. So the other week I was just thinking, you know what, I need to buy another one of these things. You know, I want the exact same toolkit. It has everything I need. You know, there is no other toolkit that I'm going to buy. I want another one of these exactly the same. So I went online and I started looking for this exact same toolkit, and I couldn't find it. And literally I was heartbroken. I thought, oh my goodness, Crescent has discontinued this toolkit, and I don't know why. It has been the greatest toolkit ever. Like, I'm sure everybody who bought this found that this was all they needed, and for $100, they were probably thrilled. And I wasn't looking in my local hardware stores or parts stores. You know, I was looking online. So I thought, wow, okay, it's literally gone, it's no more, so now I have to get a different toolkit that's probably not gonna have some of the things that are in here, or if it does have everything that's in here, it's gonna have so much more on top of that. It's probably gonna be way more expensive and probably bigger in size. You know, what I liked about this was the size of it. It's like a briefcase. You know, you can fit this under the seat of your car. It doesn't take up any room. So I'm looking around online and I'm seeing these huge tool chests, you know, because I'm looking for everything that has all the components that this one does. And if it's not a tool chest, it's this huge like 4-shelf thing that weighs like 130 pounds. And I thought, oh great, this is gonna be a nightmare. I am gonna settle for something that I am just not gonna be happy with at all. But then, all of a sudden, I found something. All of a sudden, I came across this Denali toolkit. Now, when I initially saw this, I thought, that looks exactly like my toolkit, but I have never heard of this Denali brand. What is Denali Tools? So I start researching it, and I find out that this Denali brand is like Amazon's brand of tools. And so I thought, what is Amazon making tools now? And no, what it is that Amazon is going around to all the different brands and finding the highest rated power tools, hand tools, tool kits, and they are buying the rights to them so that they can throw their name on it and sell it themselves. So now, first off, I will say that is the smartest business decision of all time. Go out and find the highest rating, best-selling stuff, buy the rights to it, and sell it yourself. So good job, Amazon, for doing that. So I click into this toolkit online and I start looking at the pictures, and in about 5 seconds I realize, holy cow, this is my exact same toolkit. Amazon bought the rights to it, and now they have it under the Denali brand. Now, it's not in the red color that it was. Now, it's in this aqua teal color. Looks super sharp, but it is literally the exact toolkit. The only toolkit that I've used for the last 10 years, and everything is exactly the same. Now, this toolkit is priced at $113 now, which is not too bad. In 10 years, as everything is skyrocketing in price, my $100 Old Faithful toolkit is now just $113. Now, if everything else could have only gone up 10% in price over the last 10 years, we'd all be in good shape. So I'm gonna bring you guys in a little bit closer. I'll pull out some of this stuff. You know, I'll go through kind of every little thing on it, show you some different uses for some of the different tools in here, and how I've found this to be so practical, how I've been able to just use this and not go out and buy a ton of extra tools. So let me just kind of walk you around what's in this bad girl and how I've found that some of this stuff is super practical. So we will just start up in the left and we'll kind of just work our way across everything that is in here. So up in the left here, you're gonna have your hex head keys. I mean, you get quite a few different sizes, and so you're gonna get your metric sizes that go from 6 all the way down to 0.9. So, I mean, gosh, you really just have any size that you're gonna need. For the English sizes, you have the same range there, you know, 1/4 inch down to 0.035. So, and it's nice to see such small sizes in the hex keys. I mean, you have surgical precision for some of the small jobs, small bolts that you may find, and I have put some of those extremely small hex keys to use. So as we're moving on down, the thing I love here is that you get your 3 different ratchet sizes. All the time I will see kits that only have your 1/2 inch and 3/8, whereas your small 1/4 inch drive ratchet, you know, with some of your smaller bits is so nice for some of your smaller engine bolts when you're doing engine work on motorcycles or cars, and for tight spaces as well. So you have your 3 different sizes there. And just the build and quality is so good. You know, I always loved this toolkit because they have those push button locks on the rear. So when you put a socket on there, you push that button to get it on. There is no way that that socket is gonna come off. So sometimes when you're turning older rusty bolts or even new bolts, you know, you'll be loosening something and that socket can kind of get wedged on there. And then you'll go to take your ratchet off and your socket gets stuck on that bolt or that nut. And sometimes if it's in a tight to reach spot, you are really in a pickle. So the locking ratchet is just key. And then the switch here to change your ratchet from loosen or tighten. I mean, it's pronounced. It's an easy one-way switch. It's not a dial, it's nothing. I love this design because it's pronounced enough. Your thumb can easily actuate it, but it's low profile enough that when you're doing work and you're loosening something or tightening something, you don't accidentally hit that and reverse direction. It's one of the best ratchet designs that I've ever seen, and so I've really enjoyed those. Now we do get extensions for every single ratchet size. So you get a long extension for your 1/4 inch drive ratchet here. You're gonna get 2 different extensions for your 3/8 drive ratchet, and then you get a nice long extension here for your 1/2 inch drive ratchet. Now the thing that I love that they did here is giving you those 2 extensions for your 3/8 drive ratchet. You know, it seems like that's the one you'll probably be using the most. It certainly has been for me. So with those 2 extensions together, you throw a deep socket on there. I mean, you can access a bolt or a nut that is 12 inches away from the head of your ratchet. That is so helpful. I mean, all the time I will see these toolkits that don't have any deep sockets, you know, that don't have a longer extension. So by the time you put your socket on the only extension it comes with, well, if your bolt was any further away from your ratchet than that, you can't get to it. And suddenly you're going to the auto parts store, you know, the hardware store to get extensions to get to whatever you need to work on. And that's just not the case on this set here. Everything clicks together super easy. I mean, these ratchets feel great. They spin so freely. Just great tools. Now, another practical application for having those hex keys that it provides and having the extensions with the deep sockets here is that if you ever find yourself in a situation where you have a hex head bolt, you put your Allen key, your hex key on it, and you just don't have enough length here to get enough torque on that to really bust it free or tighten it all the way that you need to, you can put a deep socket on your extensions and throw those on your hex key. So now, instead of just having, 3 inches of leverage on your hex key, now you have about 14. So the different combinations and different things that you can do with the components of this kit, I found just to get you out of any situation. So it's stuff like that, a little creativity with what this kit comes with. Gosh, that's how we've only been able to use this toolkit through all the years, for 10 years, wrenching on everything. So now, moving right across, we are gonna get our assortment of wrenches here. So these all have a closed end and an open end. For the metrics, you're gonna get size 8 all the way to size 15. For the English, they're gonna go from 5/8 to 5/16. So when those sizes are just the most common sizes that you will need for wrenches, if you ever need something bigger than the 15 or the 5/8, well, you do have an adjustable crescent wrench down here. So that's kind of handy. I mean that you could just, open this up to your 17, 18, 19, whatever size that was, and get to that bolt or that nut that way. Now let's get into the sockets here. So this is probably my favorite part of this kit. You just get every single size that you could possibly imagine. You get the combination of your 1/4-inch drive, your 3/8 drives, your 1/2-inch drive. You do get the deep sockets as well. You get 2 sockets here that are gonna be your spark plug sockets. So there is a little rubber boot that you can see in there. So you get your larger size there, the 13/16 that is. And then you also get your 5/8 size spark plug socket. So, and that's just gonna fit the majority of your spark plugs, whether it's on motorcycles, cars. So I love that. And if you ever find that you have a spark plug that is a different size, what you can do is take that rubber boot out of there and throw it in a different socket if you need to. So that's kind of versatile, and I love that you can do that. So as far as your 1/4-inch drive sockets, they're gonna go from 4mm at the smallest all the way up to 13mm. Now your 3/8 drive sockets here for our middle size ratchet are gonna range from a 6mm down here all the way up to a 20mm. Now our big boys, our 1/2-inch drive sockets here, are gonna go from a 15mm to a 21mm. So, and it is nice to see that 21mm. You are gonna find some larger nuts and bolts that are gonna utilize that. We have plenty of times. And then deep sockets here are all gonna be for your 3/8 drive ratchet. So you go from 17mm all the way down to 12. So for your English sizes, the 1/4-inch drive ratchet is gonna have sockets from 5/32 all the way to 9/16. Now your 3/8 drive ratchet is gonna range from 3/16 all the way up to 7/8. And then your 1/2-inch drive is gonna go from a 1/2-inch socket all the way up to that 7/8, that big boy again. And then your deep sockets will go from 3/4 all the way down to 3/8. So it's nice to see those smaller size deep sockets in there as well as the big ones. So now something I'll say that you may have noticed is there's a few duplicates in there, right? So we get a 17mm on our 1/2-inch drive. We also get a 17mm on our 3/8 drive. Now why in the world would you need the same size socket for both your different ratchets? Is because you may find a bolt that has a 17mm head and a 17mm nut. So having the duplicates there for both your different drives of ratchet, you can put one ratchet on the head, one ratchet on the nut, and you can get that thing off there. So the duplicates are key. Gosh, this has saved my butt sometimes, having those duplicates. So now in this kit, you're gonna find a needle nose as well as your channel locks. So the needle nose on this, super nice. I mean, you get texture on the end of it there. You do get a wire cutter on it there in the middle, and then you do get some texture down here in the base of it, in that V. So if you ever needed to crimp something or grip it from that part, you know, get some leverage on it. That is just super nice. And then the quality of the grip texture there on the needle nose and the channel locks, super good. And the channel locks, you get plenty of adjustability there. I mean, you can make this thing quite large, you know, if you really needed to get a hold of something big. So I have found that for automotive applications, I really just find myself needing a needle nose or a channel lock. In wrenching on our motorcycles and our vehicles, you know, our cars, trucks, SUVs, I don't really use pliers all that much. You know, for household applications, you know, you will find yourself needing pliers, but we all already have pliers, it seems like. So with this kit just having what the average person doesn't have, the needle nose and the channel locks, I've just found that to be super helpful and exactly what I need. So and now for the different screwdrivers and bits that we will get in this kit. So you get two different sizes of screwdrivers here for your Phillips head. You get a larger one and then a smaller head Phillips. For your flathead screwdrivers, you get a larger flathead or straight screwdriver, and then you get a smaller one as well. Now all of your tools in this kit, the wrenches, the ratchets, your hex keys, your sockets, they all click into place. So when you're working with something, to put it back, you will just push it in, it clicks into place so that you can lift your whole toolkit up, nothing falls out of your toolkit. I mean, we set it down on its face, we pick it back up, none of the tools fell out. So that's very nice, super practical. So you get the same thing on the screwdrivers, obviously. So when you click something out, it's very easy to get out. It holds itself in place. Now what I will say about the screwdrivers, you see this little black end on the head of them, and that is because all of your screwdrivers are magnetic. So super nice. You will never lose a screw when you are taking it out with these screwdrivers. Now in addition to your two straight screwdrivers and two Phillips screwdrivers, you are going to get this little guy here. So this is a screwdriver that has a hex head, and this is going to fit all of your different bits here that you get in your kit as well. So you're gonna get some additional Phillips head bits. So you get one that is larger than your Phillips head that comes in your kit. You get one that is smaller than your smaller Phillips head. And then you get one that splits the difference here, is kind of a middle size. So altogether, you have 5 Phillips head screwdrivers essentially. Now you are also going to get these 8-point Phillips head bits in there as well. I've never needed to use those. I have never found anything that required those. Now these have saved my butt a couple times. So these are going to be a square head bit. Now there was one time where we were working on some household things, and I found that somebody had put some decking screws in something that we needed to take off, and they were a square head bit, and I thought, oh no, I don't have any square head bits. Well, I looked in my kit, and yes, I certainly did. So you have square head bits. Now what I will say as well is that all of these bit holders are just a soft, pliable rubber. I mean, they click into place here, but they're bendable. You know, they're a little bit softer than some of the plastic holders that you'll find in some kits. So in cold weather, those are just so easy to work with. I mean, they hold your bits perfectly snug. You know, it's not like your bits are ever gonna fall out. There is no way that you would ever lose them, but it makes those bits easy to pull out, you know, out of the toolkit, and then it makes them easy to pull out of their holder. Now we also get our Torx bits. So Torx bits, very popular these days, especially in the automotive world. So you get a size T40 all the way down to a T5. So huge range of Torx bits there. I mean, we primarily just use T10 through T25, but it's nice to see smaller ones and larger ones should you ever find an application that you need those. Now as we move up to the top two here, you're gonna find your hex head bits. So you will have your metric sizes down here, you will have your English sizes up top. Now, in addition to those, you're gonna have English and metric size flat blade bits. So there is no more finding a flat blade bit that is, it's close enough. I think I'd use the larger screwdriver. I think the smaller one's good, because when you don't use the right size flat blade screwdriver, you tear up the head on the bolt that you are trying to pull off, or the screw. So you get tons of different sizes in there. You can always find the exact flat blade bit that you need for the job. Now, one other thing, in this very top one here, you will find a bit on the far right that says AD. Now that stands for adapter. So what that adapter is going to do is, on one end it has a hex head. That hex head is going to fit in your little screwdriver there that works for all of your bits. Now you are going to find that little locking ball on one of these 4 sides. This bit has 4 sides on the other end, because it fits all of your 1/4-inch drive sockets. Now this is nice because if you're ever working in a tight spot to where having a ratchet on something, you can really only turn it 1/8 of a turn or 1/4 of a turn at a time, and you're thinking, gosh, if I had a screwdriver on that socket, it would spin it out so much easier. You have that with this kit. So that adapter is super nice to see. Now another thing that I will show you on our kit that has absolutely saved my butt sometimes is, since you have that smaller 1/4-inch drive ratchet that not all of your toolkits are gonna have, and since you have a 1/4-inch socket, you can put that 1/4-inch socket on your 1/4-inch drive ratchet, and that is gonna be the same size for all of your bits in your kit. So then suddenly you could take a size 6 hex head bit and it's working in your ratchet. You know, that I could put a T25 Torx bit on my socket and have a ratchet turning that Torx screw instead of just my little screwdriver type tool. That has absolutely saved our keister. Well, and I guess the one last thing I didn't talk about was, above your channel locks, you do get a small adapter. So that is gonna go on your 3/8 drive ratchet, and then it goes down to a 1/4-inch. So if you ever needed a little bit more leverage, you know, on a smaller socket, or if you ever needed more leverage on one of your bits, you know, instead of using your small ratchet, you could use your 3/8 drive ratchet with the adapter on your 1/4-inch, and then put in the Torx bit that you needed for that bugger of a bolt that's really stuck on there. So are you starting to see how this is the only kit that we've needed for 10 years while wrenching on everything? Well, and I think that's about gonna wrap it up for you guys. You know, I do believe that this is just the best value, best bang for buck, most all-inclusive toolkit that you could possibly get. You know, it's the same toolkit that we have had, the only toolkit that we have used for 10 years. You know, and like I showed you, the only thing I ever had to buy that I didn't have in here was just that handful of larger sockets, our breaker bar, and those 2 wrenches. And that's really only because I rip into everything and work on everything. I refuse to take any of our vehicles to a mechanic shop for any reason. So our tried and true toolkit that has just worked perfect for us for all these years now just has a new look and a bigger name behind it. So that is awesome. And truth be told, I really enjoy the teal color more than the red. So I'll put a link in the description to this exact toolkit on Amazon. Like I said, it's $113. It is the best money you will ever spend. I bet in the first month of having this, it will save you more than $113. I can almost guarantee it. It's gonna be our affiliate link, so we get a small kickback as well, while still being the same price for you. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope that helps somebody out. You know, having this kit has literally, I don't even know how much money it has saved me in 10 years. Probably at least $10,000, like easily. I mean, for sure, check out all of our videos of all the wrenching, all the work that we've done ourselves, and then figure out what that would be if we had gone to a shop. I think just the work that we did on our Dodge Dakota pickup probably saved us $5,000 right there. I've had 63 motorcycles and 16 cars. So, like the video if this helped you out, subscribe if you guys want to see more, and until next time, have a wonderful night, guys.
I keep the mansion running even when the power's not. I make it here with all them pennies and them dimes I got, 'cause